A quick note before we get into the episode. Oversharing is a podcast for entertainment purposes only. It is not a medical podcast and does not constitute medical or psychological advice. Always seek the advice of your physician or mental health professional. Hello and welcome back to Oversharing. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Dr. Naomi Bernstein.
So good to be back here with you. It's coming at a great time. I have a little I guess my own betchicist. This is the kind of thing where I feel like I would love a licensed psychologist perspective on.
Okay, lay it on me.
So since having kids, we were just talking about how I sent you these videos and they're so cute. And I take 7 million pictures of them a day. And I was wondering what your thoughts are on children being posted online. I think we've kind of briefly touched on this for some previous emails that were written in. I feel very conflicted about it, because there's some people you see online and they never post the pictures, or they put a smiley face in front of the picture, or they only show the back of the head. Mm-hmm. And some people post their kids all the time. And neither of those seem quite right to me. I don't know, to me. To me, neither of those feels like the right way to go. But I do have this weird feeling of anxiety whenever I post a picture of them on Instagram. I guess there's this feeling of, am I endangering them? Is there a negative repercussion coming from this? I'll be honest, there's definitely a lot of positive feedback you get from a lot of people posting pictures of them. I mean, they're really cute and they are a big part of my life. So it feels very natural to want to share that. And again, I don't think I'm it's not extremely conscious of oh, I'm going to get a lot of interactions from this. It's more you do notice that that is what people want. The way the social media trains your brain is post things that people want to see.
Give the people what they want.
Right. But that feels when I think about that, and when I think about the fact that that is sort of a positive thing that I personally feel from that, I'm that doesn't feel right. That feels like bad parenting. Do you know what I mean?
Using my kids to feel good, to get this dopamine hit from people saying things that make me feel good. Right.
I mean, again, that's not the only reason, but I would be lying, I think, if I said that wasn't a nice little thing that it feels good from.
Totally. Well, look, first I will just say, I think it's great that you're coming on here and being honest about that feeling that I think a lot of parents probably deep down have, or if you don't even acknowledge that they have, the little bit of that icky feeling of I'm using the cuteness of my kid, or even as they get older, the talent of my kid, or something that my kid has, to then get this positive feedback from other people that then makes me feel good about myself.
But then I also think I also do that in real life. We went to a birthday party. One of Mike's friends' kids had a first birthday party this weekend. And I'm wanting to put them in a nicer outfit than I would normally put them. Because I want them to look especially cute. They're going to meet a lot of people and I want people to think they're cute.
And it can happen the other, the negative way too. Sometimes when I bring them over to their grandma's house, if they walk in with chocolate on their face, before she even says hello, she's what's on your face? And she'll take a rag and it goes the other way too. They can affect you negatively if they're showing up in a negative way. It makes you feel badly about yourself, or
For sure. I mean, I guess it's true for my own self. If I'm going to a party, I'm maybe trying a little harder than if I'm hanging out around my house, because I don't want people to think I've completely let myself go, or don't care about, want my hair to look normal. Maybe, whereas if I'm in the house, I don't
little
care. Yeah.
Tiny other ego. You have your whole life where it's just you and this big ego that you walk around with. And now you have two other little ego extensions that now affect you. So very real, very relatable.
Uh-huh. And then there's also this is the part that doesn't really scare me, I guess, because I don't think I'm posting anything that weird, but there's the predator, the privacy, or the other thing that's another big part of it. For some reason, I don't know, I'm never posting where they are, or where they're, where they live, and I guess people are so intense. And I guess there's like stuff about AI that someone could take your kid's image and create like, God forbid, like child porn or something like that. That's like crazy. But like, I feel like there's a million places to find pictures of a baby's arm online. I don't know. It just feels like I can't like that. I can't go that far in that direction. I don't know. Like, what do you, so then I'm like, and then every time I post something, it's sort of like this existential crisis of like, well, like, was this stupid? Was this wrong? So sometimes I just don't even post anything, which is also fine. Like I'll send it to our sibling group chat or to like the grandparents or something, which is like also nice. You also get some nice positive feedback there. But I don't know, like it's for me, I'm like, I have a hard time whenever I try to like figure out my stance on it. It's very hard for me to land somewhere.
I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think as far as endangering your child, I think the idea is that if you have a wide net and you're posting pictures, there could be someone that gets like hooked on your kid and like obsessed with your kid and then tries to find them in real life, or like you're saying, create some AI images of them. But that could happen in so many, the idea of someone creating AI images of your kid like that
could happen right anywhere.
That ship has sailed. There's an image of them out there already. So like
even the whole like someone could see and become obsessed with your kid. Like it's funny, like I listen to a lot of true crime things and you hear of like all the 80s kidnappings were like people who saw your kid on the playground and became obsessed with them and then like kept looking at like for your kid and then maybe snatched them or something. But like, so that's not an internet only thing, but obviously it's a little easier to track someone.
Right. Find out where, oh, she posted a picture. It looks like they're here. Maybe they're here. Yeah. I mean, I don't think what you're doing, it's not like you're vlogging your whereabouts all day, every day. Like, I think if you're like creating a, detailed itinerary of your whereabouts with your baby, I mean, your babies are babies. You're with them every second. So I don't think you're even in this world. But I think if you're, really obsessively documenting every second of your kid's life, that's probably maybe a little bit unsafe for strangers to know the whereabouts of your kid. But I do think if there's crazy people out there and they want to find your kid, they're probably going to find them. Like, I don't think there's that much that you're going to do. I don't think the amount that you're posting, I don't think you're endangering them. I think what makes you feel that way is this kind of push pull of like, this feels good for me. If there's even a 2% chance that it's in any way dangerous for them, it would be the worst, most selfish, horrible thing in the entire world. So I don't want to do it at all.
Well, that's kind of the slippery slope of like all parenting, right? Like, oh, if I want to go out to dinner without my kids and that might be bad for them in some way, like, should I just not do it? Because like, why even if there's a possibility?
Right.
So it is, I mean, this does seem like less necessary than maybe a night out or a break or something. But I do think it's a little bit of a slippery slope kind of thing. And that's like, I mean, I feel like I always talk about how much I love Emily Oster, but I like what she does in terms of like parenting and pregnancy and stuff, because she's basically like, no one can do like everything. Like you can't do absolutely zero. So like, why don't we look at the studies and see what like is actually impactful?
And I do think that if it makes you feel better to just send it to the family chat or send it to your friends chat and not necessarily post it. Like, I think what you do sounds great. If it's like a big event, like when they were first born and everyone's following your journey, I do think there is something to be said. Like, so many people have reached out to you, all these people that don't even know you, that are like, I've never felt more connected to somebody or more happier for somebody that I don't know than I did for you, right? When you had the babies. And yes, you want to protect your babies more than anything else in the world. But I think the idea that you made an announcement and posted pictures was like a gift to all these people who felt really loving, warm, kind vibes towards you. If you were like, well, I'm going to protect these babies and not post any pictures of them ever for like a 0.0001% chance of what I'm not even exactly sure what would happen, that someone's going to make AI porn out of them or whatever your fear is. And all these people that got so much joy out of seeing them and seeing you guys, like, I just don't think that would be a reasonable fear and rob you of like creating all these connections from people that would love to see them or on their first birthday, or like if they're, something that you want to share with all these people that you can connect with, for you not to connect in that way with people that really genuinely you're sharing love and warmth and all these loving feelings with on your Instagram page. My opinion is I don't think it's worth it. Do you want to document their every move on your Instagram page? Probably not, just because it's going to make you feel anxious for no reason. And you can share some of those things with smaller circles, but on big things that you feel like the larger group of, I don't know how many followers you have, but like a lot, I think it's okay to share that, because there is like, this is a much bigger topic, but like we're very stuck in our own little nuclear family. And there is like a larger world to connect to out there, especially someone like you who's connected with this whole infertility community and people that really feel inspired by you. And it's worth connecting in that way where people can see your joy and experience a little moment of joy with you, which is why I always tell people when it comes to social media and who you're connecting with, like, connect with people who you are really happy for and who you really think are happy for you. Like, that's who you should be keeping in your circle, so that when you are posting these things, if there is that little 0.00001% in the back of your mind that thinks that somehow this
something nefarious is going to happen, whatever,
that it's worth it because you're connecting with someone that you have warm and loving feelings towards, going back and forth,
Right. I think that's a great way to think about it. I also try to think, like, before I put up anything, and they're a little young even for this, but like if I were them and I found out this picture was on the internet somewhere, would it be upsetting for me? So like, I try not to post like a tantrum, or even like, even though they're babies, like they're going to be like clothed. I'm not like posting pictures of them like in the bath, like, having like I think it's okay to have an awareness, even though it gives me anxiety to even think about. But I think the awareness just makes me like, I think a little more about what I post about them than maybe what I post about me or what I post about Mike even. Sorry, Mike. So I think that's fine. That's good. Just to like think like a little longer about anything that I put up about them. But it doesn't mean I shouldn't do it, or I can't do it, or it's bad to do it, but just like having an extra little sense of like, what would this person think if they could know? Or what would I think if this baby picture was up on the internet of me? Which is usually probably like not being upset about that.
Totally. And I think most of the time it's so cute that even by the time you're old enough, you're like, yeah, that, even if it was a tantrum, you're like, but that was so cute.
Right. It's not like in the moment.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure you're doing fine, but I get where you're coming from, where you're sort of like, this feels good for me, so maybe it feels that somehow is wrong.
It's bad. Yes.
Yeah. But keep sending it. Send me every single, I wish people would send me more, like even my friends, I want more videos, and it's weird.
Do you? I'm kind of like, does anyone really want like this many pictures of my
video? Like, I like videos.
You want people like, just send me the videos. I don't want anything static.
The pictures are great, but I want to see like the personalities. Like, I want to see what they're up to. I want to see the actual, you get a vibe for who these little people are becoming and their personalities through videos. And I'm actually bummed. I think there's been an overcorrection. Like when I was young, my dad used to take like 45-minute long home movies, which like nobody's really watching. Although now it's kind of like a treasure to kind of see what the whole vibe was like in the home. Like you can kind of get a feel for the whole thing. And now everything is like, if the clip is more than 10 seconds, it feels so short, like it's taking up all the space on your phone. And when I look back at the videos from when my kids were little, I'm always like, oh, I wish this was longer. Like, I just want to see
more, right?
like what was going on in the space, like what the vibe was in the house, and like just kind of be like a fly on the wall. So a little bit more, but like my phone only has so much memory.
And the human attention span is like, plus like, I'm not sending you a 45-minute video of my kid.
No,
I don't think you want that either.
I wouldn't. And that, you're right. I wouldn't want that. Your videos currently are perfect length. I just wish I had.
Right. Maybe you should get a video recorder, like a video camera.
Like old school.
Yeah.
Something separate than my phone to just kind of like record, like when people don't even know they're being recorded kind of thing. So you could see what's really going on. And that's how it was back in the day. It was like someone was just recording and everyone was just living their life almost like.
Right. Well, it wasn't because they're probably not performing, because it's like no one's going to see it besides your parents, really. Now it's like, if I see a video on me, I'm like, fixing my hair, and like, because maybe it's going to go on the internet or something.
Yeah, totally. It was a totally different time. It was interesting. But every video, like someone sent me the other day a clip from when my kids were babies, and it was like a 12-second clip or something. And I'm like, what happened next?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for this. That I feel a little better about my choices. You can
you're
just
all
like,
good.
I just want you to know that if you ever feel like it's too much, you can tell me.
Know. Yeah.
My friends and I have like a Botox filler, like cosmetic thing where we have a pact of like, whatever looks like it's too much, you can say something. I'm giving you the pre-authorization to say something. So same thing with the internet posting. If you're like, this seems a little excessive or like an invasion.
All right. I will. I'll keep you in check.
We have a voicemail this episode. If you have a voicemail, you can leave us one at 646-363-6294. As always, you can subscribe to this episode. We love our subscribers. And if you subscribe, you get 2 bonus episodes a month and all the episodes ad-free and 1 day early. Or you can join a therapy group run by Dr. Naomi. How do they do that?
Yes, come find us, NaomiBernstein.com. We have groups on Monday evenings, Tuesday mornings, and there's a Wednesday morning group too that I currently think is full. But those are the times that the groups run. If you're interested, come find us. We would love to have you join us. There's also some individual therapy spots that are open if that is something you're looking for. I love doing couples work. It's some of my favorite. I was kind of born into this world, lots of disjointed couples all around. So I've been doing this since I was, about 3. I've gotten pretty good at that too. So yeah, NaomiBernstein.com. Come find us.
And on that note, if you want a free couples therapy session by having us do a subscriber episode of your couples disagreement, email us. Let us know you want to come on a subscriber episode. You don't pay anything. It is on air, but it's behind a paywall. So if you are a couple and want to dip your toes in that couples therapy thing without the price tag.
And you can be anonymous too, so you don't have to say your names or anything like that.
Totally. So email us if you're interested in that, oversharing@betches.com. Okay, let's get into our episode. I will read our first email. Hi, Dr. Naomi and Jordana. I could use some advice on how to deal with career jealousy with my partner. For context, my boyfriend and I are both second-year attorneys who started practicing after passing the July 2024 bar and now practice in the same state. He does regulatory work at a small firm, and I do litigation at a larger firm in a metro area. I tend to work a lot of evenings, weekends, holidays, and I'm in office every day while he seems to get more time off and is allowed to work remotely whenever he wants. Litigation by its nature is also inherently more stressful with tight deadlines and court appearances. On top of that, he's gotten several raises and bonuses while I've gotten none, and he makes almost twice my salary. I recognize it's not his fault that I chose this firm and this area of law, and I also recognize that he has legitimate complaints about his own work. But how do I deal with jealousy towards my partner's career when we're purportedly in the same place in our career, but he works less and gets paid substantially more? Thanks for your wisdom, a covetous counselor.
This is tough because you're waking up in the morning. You're both going off to your separate days, which look very different. And even if you were making the same amount, it's hard that you're working different, you're working longer hours and he's working from home and you're going to an office. And then also on top of that, he's making more than you. So I could see that being a real struggle. I wonder if you have this with Mike a little bit, because I know that he has moments where he works super long hours and you're work from home. And
I think he gets a little jealous, I'm sure, of like the flexibility of my job compared to his. I think that it's like, yeah, I think that's something that you kind of have to deal with. I mean, one thing about where she says she is her boyfriend, we're married. So it does feel like, at least for, like everything is, we're sort of like a team.
What's mine is yours, right?
Right. What's mine is yours. And also because I have more flexibility in my schedule, I'm able to do more things to help around the house or to help with like the dog or childcare appointments that he can't go to. So I do think there's like an element of this is more uneven this way. There's other things that are more even another way. But with a boyfriend, I think it's a little different because it feels like it's like you're almost just like your peer side by side too. But I will say that I think the best way to deal, I mean, I get jealous of like Mike's metabolism. like there's a million things to be jealous of that are like kind of inherently unequal. Like there's like some things come more naturally to other people or they get lucky in one area or the next. And I think that the best way to not feel resentful is to turn like that resentful jealousy thing into like inspiration or motivation. It's nice almost that they're in the same, like they graduated at the same time. They have relatively same skill set, it sounds like. I mean, I assume there's something she likes about litigation because of the fact that she went into it. To me, it seems like whenever I thought about being a lawyer, that always seemed like the coolest thing, that you're like going and arguing in front of a thing. So I don't know how much she values that, but maybe she thought she valued that. And now she's realizing she doesn't. She'd rather have a more flexible schedule, less hours, be able to work from home, that kind of thing. So I think if she's realizing, she should look at her boyfriend as like, I mean, this is like an inspiration. Like this is possible in this field. A lot of people don't even know it's possible because they've never been in something or ever really like know anyone who's in something. So she has someone who I don't know if she lives with him, but they're together every day. She seems this kind of life is possible with the degree and the career that she has. So if she's like, I want that life, it's not too late. Just passed the bar in 2024. Like, why don't you look into jobs in his field? He could probably be an asset to you and someone to help motivate you to get a job like his.
100%. I totally agree. I think one of two things, either like you said, you love this particular work and you're like, I love being a litigator. I love the intellectual challenge. I love the idea of being in person, arguing, being in court, making these appearances, doing this type of work. And so that's what makes it worth it. Or here's something that I'm going to work towards and I'm going to build my resume in this direction and I'm going to start applying for jobs and I want to go in this, I want to do that, which you're early enough in your career that I think you can try to make that change. I get that feels kind of, I think this happens to people sometimes. And I would encourage you not to feel stuck, especially now you're just 2 years in, where it feels like, I guess maybe in law school, you take certain courses or you've taken an internship or something where you've decided I want to be a litigator. And then it feels like, oh, wait, I was wrong. Like now I need to change and do something different. And it feels like you made a mistake or something if the work is not worth it to you, perhaps. Maybe it is, and you're just in a mood or in a place or you feel like a little irritated that you have to wake up earlier or work later, and maybe it really is worth it. But if it's not, it's okay to kind of say, hey, I made a mistake. I thought doing this work was going to be worth it. And actually I'm doing it and it's not. And it's okay to kind of make that pivot at any time. Even if you were doing this for 10 years, it's okay to make that pivot. I mean, I thought I wanted to do one thing early in my career. It's crazy to think what I did my early career internships in has nothing to do what I do with what I'm doing currently.
I mean, you also did Teach for America, and you are not a teacher.
It is crazy. I did Teach for America for my first 2 years out of college. I was a teacher. This is not what I do currently. And then I did psychological testing my first year in graduate school, which is not what I do at all. And then I worked in a residential eating disorders clinic, which is not my area of expertise. So you tried this, maybe it's not what you want to do.
I mean, think of it like a relationship. It's like just because you are in a relationship for a long time doesn't mean you need to stay in that relationship, even if you've put in many years in that relationship.
Totally. And you've probably learned, I'm sure there are pieces and skills that you can have pulled out of your time in this that you can then go ahead and use. But I wouldn't stay stuck just because this is maybe what you thought you wanted to do from the time you were 21.
It's a very hard thing to turn jealousy into inspiration. But if you can do that, I think you're like the most pleasant person to be around. Because then it goes from like, I don't want to hear about how you can work from home to like, I would love to do what you do. Can you help me figure out like the best way to transition, like inspired, and you can like leverage that person.
Yes, that turning jealousy into inspiration. That is a lifelong challenge that I think a lot of people can lean into. It starts young. I took Maddie to this volleyball thing and she came out. It was an all ages thing. So she's 12 and she was in there with these girls that were like 17. And she came out and she was all upset and I suck. I was the worst one in there and I don't want to go back. And I was trying to get that message. Ultimately, she was jealous. She couldn't play like the rest of these girls. And I, just was trying to get her to turn her jealousy into inspiration of like, I want to be like, but no. And it wasn't there right off the bat. But I do think when you notice jealousy, if you can take that, either acceptance or inspiration, right? Like, I guess acceptance is one of like, okay, I'm never going to have long blonde hair. If that's what the thing is. Or inspiration of like, in this case, I want that career or I want to hit a volleyball like that or whatever.
If you can do that, give it a try. And I think it's okay I think saying I'm jealous sets you free. So if our boyfriend's like irritating her, by talking about, she says like he has legitimate complaint. She's saying, I recognize that he has legitimate complaints about his own work. Sounds like when he's complaining, she's like getting irritated. And I do think there's an element of like reading the room, but I think if she could say like, I understand that like this day at work was annoying. Honestly, I'm really jealous of your whole schedule. And when you complain, it annoys me because like, I wish I had that and I'm trying to be more inspired, but maybe just like have that awareness that it's tough for me right now. I'm not loving what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, self-reflection is good. It doesn't mean you have to change, but I would allow yourself to just start to think about if whatever the work is worth it, is worth the effort.
Let's do a batch assist. This one is a voicemail. Let's roll the tape.
Hi, Jordana and Dr. Naomi. I am loving the podcast. It's my favorite podcast, up there with You Up. It's making me nervous leaving a voicemail, so I'll just go with it. I've worked for the same company for 10 years, and recently we got bought out and got new management. My new manager is my age. We have similar age kids. We sit next to each other all day and gab, so we kind of have developed a friendship. Recently, I kind of fucked up at work. I left the door unlocked because they changed from an automatically locking door to one with a deadbolt. And so a lot of sensitive information, materials, products were at risk. And I talked with my manager about it, and I kind of thought it was going to be chalked up to so much changing with the company merging, that procedural changes, there's just been a lot, and that it was human error. Turns out she escalated it to her boss, who is now making the whole office do compliance training and all these new security policies. And everybody knows it's me. It's kind of embarrassing. And I guess I just am taking it a little bit more personally than because I thought we were friends. In 2 weeks, we were invited to her daughter's birthday party. And she mentioned that they're new in town. Her daughter doesn't have a lot of friends, so she wanted my daughter to come. And I, of course, was wanting to help her out. But now I feel like it might be prudent for us to sort of disentangle our personal lives, because clearly I'm taking it a little bit personally that she doesn't have that care for our friendship that I thought maybe she would. So is it petty to kind of take it out on the daughter's birthday, or is it prudent to start not getting our families involved in this relationship that I think is just best to remain a work employee-boss relationship? And then secondly, I was listening to your episode on motherhood anxiety and really resonated with the talk about type B parenting, and I thought it kind of applied here. I would love an intention for being a type B employee and parent who is just expected to function in this perfectionist world, and how hard that can be. I love you guys, and I can't wait to keep listening.
Okay.
I think these are two separate issues in some ways.
I would agree. Yeah.
Having these changes, leaving the door open, and then having them do kind of an employee re-education overhaul, I think that's okay. I wouldn't take that personally. Like, I used to teach a class for physician's assistants, and the whole class pretty much was on how to handle it if you're a physician's assistant and you make a mistake, like a medical error, like how to handle that with patients, how to handle that within the administration. Like, people make mistakes, and this was about medical mistakes, like you hurt a patient and like how to handle it. So I do think it's okay that they are creating these systematic changes so this doesn't happen again. And I wouldn't take it personally. Yes, it may be a little embarrassing, but I don't think this was against her or mean or anything like that.
I agree. And I also think the manager, I mean, I don't know how she said to her what she was going to do, or if she even said anything that she was going to escalate it. But I do think the manager also has to cover her own ass. Whereas if it's you did that, you told her and she didn't say anything because she's your friend, and then they found out something was stolen, she could get in a lot of trouble. And I don't think that necessarily she wanted to risk it. It doesn't sound like you got in trouble. It just sounds like they're doing a refresh, which they probably should do. It's the kind of thing where it's they should do it. I'm sure nothing bad happened, but I don't think it's something that, I don't think you need to think of her as this huge rat that nothing really, I don't know. Maybe she could have said to you in a way hey, I hate to have to do this, but I'm going to have to escalate it just because, and explain that she could be liable and all those things. Maybe she didn't do that, and then she just did it. That would have been nice if she gave you a heads up. And yeah, it is kind of it is an interesting thing to be friends with your manager, because it is a relationship where they might have to fire you one day, or they might have to, it's nice to have a good personal relationship with someone, but at the end of the day, it is a business.
Yeah. And things like this can definitely happen. As far as the type B, I think this is kind of great. I kind of like this type of thing where you're okay, tell me what things to check. When other people, as a fellow type B person, I'm okay, give me the protocol, check the this, check the that, check the other thing. I like that.
I agree. As a type B person also, I also okay, you're type B. These are the things that you need to be pretty on top of. There are many things that I think don't need to be meticulously, perfectionistly done, but there are some things that are, because they're more important for risk purposes or safety purposes. And I like being be type B about the dog on the bed, but don't be type B about your kid by the pool. I like knowing what I shouldn't relax in my type B-ness about. And she's finding out one thing that's very important to the company.
Totally. So I would just take that as yeah, it sucks that everyone knows it was you. And I'm sure most of those people that quote know it was you are probably oh, wow, that could have been me. I don't think they're all what an idiot. Like, I can't believe, I'm sure they're
I'm
probably
so
like,
mad. Right.
right. So yes, it was you. But like, I'm glad that they're doing it. Everyone's going to get retrained. I would thank you. This is the type of thing where it's like, okay, thank you for making that mistake. Now we know that we all need training in this so that this doesn't happen again. As far as the birthday party and that type of thing of like getting intertwined, that's a little bit, I wouldn't do it. It sounds like you kind of want to do it because you're pissed. I wouldn't do it petty. Right. If in general, I think going and bringing your daughter to like a birthday party, I think that's fine. It's like, you're going, it's a birthday party, it's a fun time. Would I be like dishing my whole personal, if you have a fight with your husband, would I be telling her about that? Probably not. If you have like very super personal details about your life, I don't know how like extremely personal I would be getting with someone who, like you said, has some power over you and could fire you at any moment. And it's not just a regular like BFF situation. You might want to keep some boundaries there. I think you can socialize. I think you can hang out. I think you can talk about shows that you like and, some like light conversation, but I would be mindful of getting too heavy and too deep and too dependent on this person as a friendship.
I agree. And I think if you already said you were going to the birthday party,
You should go to the birthday party.
It's not the daughter's fault. It's not really the mom's fault either. Like, I think it's just a good reminder that like you're friends, but your primary relationship is your work relationship. You can still be friends, but just always know that, which is fine.
And if in the future you don't want to say yes to the party, I think it would be okay if you want to draw the line and like not do that again next year and just make up a reason why you can't go, because that feels like pushing it to you, like to do something outside of the office, then fine. But I also think if that feels okay and it's just like a kid's birthday, that's okay.
Also
too.
okay.
Yeah.